All right. Good afternoon. I am so excited to see everyone here. I know we have a good number of people who are jumping in after another meeting, so we're going to give everyone about 60 seconds to get in. This is a great chance to go grab a glass of water, catch up on those last second emails. We'll start here in about 60 seconds, though. And now while we're giving the latecomers just a couple a minute or so to get in, just wanted to mention the Q&A section. So as we are going through this workshop, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A chat, and we will definitely answer them as we go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and kick things off. I am so excited to have everyone here, as well as to introduce our speaker for today's SAP AFC webinar, RJ Saini. So RJ is one of my favorite consultants, if I can play favorites. He is a veteran FICO consultant with more than 20 years of experience. RJ really brings that rare techno-functional perspective to the table. He actually began his career as an ABAP programmer and then moved into a high-level architect capable of handling everything from debugging to C-level executive presentations. His academic and professional credentials are equally impressive. He actually has an MBA from the University of Chicago Booth School, as well as a CPA, PMP, and CTP certifications. So while RJ has a wealth of FICO experience, he's uniquely qualified to lead today's session on advanced financial closing because he is an expert in record to report, even before he started working with AFC specifically. He also recently spearheaded two major AFC projects, including a high-stakes implementation for one of our Fortune 500 clients. He has extensive experience with S/4HANA implementations and understands how S/4 impacts month-end closing. So RJ has a well-earned reputation as an exceptional SAP FICO consultant and thought leader in the S4 space. RJ, did I miss anything?
Nope, that's good.
Perfect. Well, I'll let you go ahead and get started.
So, as Sarah mentioned, my name is RJ, and today's session is focused on SAP Advanced Financial Closing Cockpit. Let's kick it off. So what is SAP AFC? Well, you know that it's a cloud-based solution. You must have heard of these days. Most of the one-off solutions, standalone solutions, they are cloud-based. ECC, we used to have everything integrated in one box, but now in the newer world, everything is cloud-based. So you can have, connections to different ERPs, not just SAP, to be able to connect to those underlying transactions so that you can further, do the financial closing. So it's a cloud-based hub solution designed to orchestrate financial closing processes across the entire landscape. SAP, non-SAP, and even the manual ones, RFC calls, et cetera, et cetera. You could be on QuickBooks and still be able to use SAP AFC for that matter. It's a centralized platform for entity close management. So different company codes, different geographies, different ERP systems, on-premise, cloud, even Excel-based using manual tasks, that all could be performed. Streamlines month-end and year-end activities, we know that. And it provides complete visibility and control. Visibility control, by that I mean that even if you are not using SAP AFC, you could have a different tool, could be Blackline, that you've been using for your closing, but now you can still have it integrated into SAP AFC. So SAP AFC becomes kind of a central monitor, which will further delegate the task, let's say, to Blackline or some other closing system that you might be used to. And that system further will actually execute the task in ERP. And the status would again be made visible into your SAP AFC so that the success and failure of the follow-on tasks can all be carried out. So think like SAP AFC is your central control module. It's a SAP product, cloud-based product, and it can manage through your existing third-party systems if you have any, or it can directly manage the closing task on itself and reflect you the statuses and so on and so forth.
And that's great to hear, especially because SAP has historically been not super friendly with outside with other technologies. So I really like hearing that that it works well with third-party technologies.
It's web-based. Given it's cloud, then the front-end interface is web-based, which means you don't have to be tied to a thick GUI client that Schedule Manager. If folks who are aware of it, we used to have Schedule Manager in ECC, which would run a thick GUI client. Now it's all web-based, so just on web itself, you can just see and execute your tasks. Folks who are aware of it, the technology is called Fiori, via which all this is carried out. That's a web-based front-end technology that could be used to perform your closing tasks. So for AFC users, the key benefits are process automation, okay, standardization, which means you can have standard controls, standard tools to be able to perform those tasks in wherever you want to perform them. Real-time visibility. So you do have those fancy pie charts, graphs, etc., that you can see visually at a high level how your closing looks like, particularly when you have real-time closing in some of the areas. It's no longer that big bang, period closing. SAP already introduced the real-time closing as we start going towards month ends and period ends. So you start getting those visibility in advance, right? When I say enhanced collaboration, which means that at least with Blackline and some of the other tools that are available that were traditionally used before AFC. So SAP has built-in collaborations with those so that you don't have to disturb your processes that are there already. Or later on, if you want, you can move everything to AFC because over time, SAP has come up with its own tool. One of the known tool is ICMR, Intercompany Matching and Reconciliations, right? And also be able to perform some of the transactional, the complex general postings and all. So SAP has an equivalent tool. Blackline, if you're using it, fine. But if you want to get away from Blackline over time, then SAP has other solutions available, but all that could be managed by AFC to begin with. So just that's enhanced collaboration. SAP is building collaboration with other tools that are available in the market. Accelerator close is your real-time closing. I was talking about that. You don't have to wait to the month end. Now, as the tasks, as there's a suitability, some of the tasks could be performed way before period. They don't have to wait. So that's accelerator closing, which has been made available even before AFC, but AFC just kind of enhances it and provides you the control and visibility via those charts and other visual tools. Any questions?
I don't see any just yet, but once again, if anyone does have questions, please be sure to just put them in the Q&A and we'll address them as they come up.
Sure. Then process automation. Now this is where we're going to get a little deeper. Automated task scheduling across multiple ERP systems. So in AFC, you can build your task schedules. Basically, it's a list of tasks one after another that you must be used to from other from Blackline or something where you have a success. One task has to be successful before the second task can execute, or there could be parallel tasks that can run, or one failure of one task will result in the stopping of the complete execution of the further tasks. So that all automatic task scheduling across multiple ERP systems is made available via AFC. Then there's a pre-delivered automation content for common tasks. So you have known common tasks, which means that, for example, FI closing, AP closing, AR closing, you can just think like those are templates. To begin with, we have used, everyone needs some kind of initiation. The pre-delivered automated templates, they are generally good for just to give you an idea, but gives you an idea and also give you the framework. Examples could be, you might have manual tasks, right? You might have jobs. You have P codes or the task WBS elements, okay, or asset accounting close.
I think
Standard,
we're having some.
right? Yeah. they're standard. So you have those that you can that are available. But then many times you know that you have manual tasks that is not known to SAP. You might have to go to some other system. You might have to go to another bank portal, etc., to do something. So the framework is available to allow you to carry out standard known T codes in SAP. Then unknown tasks to SAP, like the manual tasks, you might have custom programs that you have to run. And the success and failure of those jobs means that the follow-on process is to be carried out or not. So it offers you the framework along with the pre-delivered content for the known task in AFC is available. So just an FYI, all the common tasks. Background execution without manual intervention. So again, the standard T codes you can run in background because they long running processes you can run in the background, or you can also have your own custom programs. Many times unique industries have unique programs, month-end programs that have to be run, and they're not standard SAP programs. So you can have them run as jobs, and the status of those jobs, success or failure, could then be used as trigger to the follow-on processes. Reduced manual efforts and human errors. Exactly. Since most of the things are automated, they're there in front of you visually, one after another. The follow-on processes will be made available to you, and it also kind of guesstimates as to how long your previous period and closing was. So based upon that, it also builds on kind of a statistical data for your later on runs, so that that last time so many processes, so many templates, so many tasks were run, how much did it take and how much it's going to take now. So you can have a comparative analysis as you go ahead with follow-on periodic period end processes. Again, you are more in control of your closing via this process automation.
Now, have you seen clients with a lot of manual tasks really see a big benefit by implementing AFC? Is that one of the types of clients who would really benefit?
Yes. So every client will probably have 10% tasks. It goes without saying, which are manual, which means they are not carried out in SAP. They might have to be carried out even out of SAP. If it's within SAP, then it's easier. You can still run it as a job and capture the outcome of the job and integrate into AFC tasks so that the following task could be carried out. But sometimes the program or the task is not even living in SAP. It's living somewhere else, right? So in that case, you have to carry out it manually and come back and say, yes, this is successful. And then the next task, whoever the next task owner is, whether background or manual, can continue. But 10% of the tasks generally are such, particularly with those companies that are in growth phase and they're in acquisition phase, they have these kind of requirements.
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense.
Standardization, reusable closing templates for each period, auto-adjusted task list based on key dates, consistent process across all entities, eliminates monthly manual adjustment. So this kind of goes hand in hand. You have the closing templates for one period that you can just copy it over to next period. You can make changes to that if you have added new processes. So you just have to use the same templates and just make a copy of that and to the task list in that, and then you can just keep copying them. So it makes the whole process easier while keeping it flexible, so you don't have to create the new templates all over again, right? Consistent process across all entities. Again, for X entities, you have these processes. For another set of Y entities, you have these processes. So there could be shared services entities, there could be operational entities, there could be just HR entities. So they have specific processes, but as long as the given set of grouped entities have a similar month-end process, you can club them together and then use the same templates across all entities. So it brings the consistency in your closing process. Eliminates monthly manual adjustments. Again, the sooner you start using this thing and real-time closing in particular, you have lesser manual adjustments to be carried out later, right? It just eliminates the monthly manual adjustments because you're able to either do them beforehand or there are fewer of them to begin with because of just the methodology that AFC uses, more standardizations.
No, and that's music to my ears because I know a lot of our clients, they've been in SAP for a long time, so they do have a lot of different entities, they have a lot built up. So being able to standardize some of that is fantastic.
Real-time visibility, SAP Fiori dashboard for instant monitoring. That's what I was telling, that since you have everything available to you by task list, so you can see that how different closings are performing, which entities or which group of entities are behind or ahead or are being blocked for certain reasons. That's why we have the visibility available to you. These visibilities are available like in an Excel format with different bars running left to right, or you can have pie charts. All those are there. Tracking closing progresses in real time. As a real-time closing is the thing SAP offered, I think 5-6 years ago, and you can all track it there. Identify bottlenecks immediately if something is stuck, because let's say set of WBS elements have been closed unnecessarily, right? Just because and they have not been closed yet, but they're not in the correct status to be able to move the costs out of, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, common examples. So you can know them quickly, right? Examples, one such example. Similarly, access closing status regardless of location. What is the closing status of different tasks, right? If they entered with the error or warning or green. So you can see that all on the common dashboard, which has different levels to it: high level, low level, and then essentially, as I said, like in a kind of a tabular format where you have different task lists, and you can easily see where we are on the task list, on each task list, and what's the progress on each of the task lists. And if it is blocked, then what's the block? If it is failed, then why did we fail? And if it is green, then what is it? And again, maybe in further slides, we'll see that you can even send out the emails to distribution, certain distribution list of the status of certain critical statuses if you want to.
Very nice. Now, is that dashboard, is that out of the box available, or is that something that has to be?
It all comes standards out of the box with different sub-Fiori areas in that. So you can see that like one segment is showing one side, and it's all configurable. For example, you can see the high level on the top and then the task level at the bottom. So there are at least half a dozen of Fiori apps available that help you carry this thing out.
Nice, thank you.
Enhanced collaboration. This is where black lines or your Hyperions or group reporting closing, this all comes into mind. And that's those are the tool side, but then within AFC itself, workflow notifications keep teams updated. So if one task owner is stuck on something, and then it needs to be informed to certain to the follow-on task owner, et cetera, et cetera. So workflow notifications keep teams updated. That's standard workflow. That's S4HANA workflow is being deployed for that, but that keeps everyone updated via emails, et cetera. Then clear task assignment and responsibilities. There are task lists, and task owners, and then there are backup task owners. So responsibilities and task assignments happen at each task level. Cross-system dependencies management. So think about your ERPs, or think about something where you are dependent on another system to get some kind of data before you can close the follow-on task. So it could be an RFC call to another system, but essentially for AFC, it's just a task which never got its status so that it can perform the task in this system. So even though cross-system dependencies are there, but if the task from another that has to be executed in another system, it has not sent its status back, though you cannot perform the follow-on task here. So it keeps tracks of all that, even if it's cross-system. Complete audit trail and documentation that goes hand in hand as we make progress. If there are any errors or any warnings, and then if it were manually carried out or a background user carried out, that all is available within AFC, so that you can go back and keep and see what the audit trail was. Particularly in the manual task, if someone has to go out and execute a task and come back and say that this task is successful, it will make it. It will of course capture the person's name, but it will also make a mandatory comment field required, so that they will have to put in the comments as to on what basis they have approved it. And if there's a need for a documentation, you can open another field and make it evidence mandatory. So someone will have to upload an evidence or something, so that you can actually mark it as a complete, so that the following task can be carried out.
Perfect. No, that makes a lot of sense, and especially on the documentation side, I know that that is absolutely vital. So I'm so glad to hear that it is truly built into it. We did have a question from Braden, so I just
Mhm.
wanted to address that real quick. It was actually from the previous slide, so sorry, Braden. But
Yes,
um, so when it comes to accelerated close as a key benefit, does it mean accelerated as in real time, or
real
meaning
time,
acceler in real time?
in
Okay.
real time. So the tasks
And
don't,
then, mhm.
the tasks don't have to be waited till the month end and can be performed earlier. The regular accounting tasks, right? So we don't have to wait until that time, and those can be carried out. That's real time accounting account closing that we are aware of.
Very nice. And then the follow-up was, are meaning accelerated as an automation to making period and close transactions quicker. But I think you've already addressed that part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you.
Oh, well, here it comes. Start closing processes earlier in the period. So some of the tasks, as you know, that they doesn't have to be wait till the end of the period. So you can start closing it earlier. That's accelerated closing. We're talking about faster time to value and reporting. Since you are able to start this process, closing process earlier, you'll always have quicker closing. The time to value and reporting will be faster. Reduce period and processing time because you have fewer tasks to be carried out at the month end. And again, this is something, there is heuristics in that. Like as you carry out one set of periodic activities, in 1 month, and then the next period, system kind of learns and then kind of gives you statistics as to how you close the last time versus this time. So there's help there itself available because you have statistics available from your last close. And enable soft close capabilities. Again, you can soft close some, which means that if there are no hard dependencies, later on you can, or there is a hard dependency later on, you can close them now, but you can come back and revisit it. And so you close it once, and then you have a kind of the next steps also carried out. But if there's a need be, you can come back and redo it to capture some of the delta activities. Just because those are not like hard in nature, we know that what those are. So you can rerun the processes, and then the following activities could be carried out. How does it help is that if you have certain, let's say, certain objects uh, that could have an issue, right? So you can always run them like 80% of the closing you already carried out, soft closing, and you know that those will go fine later on if you have to carry it out. So real-time closing, soft closing, time savings, having statistical data available to you from your previous closing all means accelerated closing, which means your end of the period month-end closing could be shorter. I mean, the complex clients have 15 days of closing cycle, right? And it can be cut down to just 1 week. I'm talking about the complex clients where closing technically doesn't even end, right? But on an average, I think most of the clients are able to close within 15 days to 20-day period. But with this AFC, the benefits could be as much as 50% quicker closing, like within a week or so.
And that's a huge acceleration. I mean, if you can imagine 50% faster closing, because that's an area that most clients would love to see accelerated. So
So traditional versus AFC. So we have traditional closing cockpit. So if you know the hierarchy, I mean the evolution of closing cockpit. So we have traditional. We had used to have schedule manager. If you folks are aware of it, in ECC world, I think up to 2015 or 2018, good 20 years, SAP had schedule manager that you would use to just schedule tasks. Then we had the first closing cockpit. That's what is referenced here because you might have the recent memory of that. And then we have AFC now. So here it's going over the architecture. It might sound a little technical, but I'm going to go through it. So architecture-wise, the last closing cockpit that you might have at your places, it's on-prem and embedded in SAP S/4HANA. So it's on-prem first, while right now we have a cloud native. So it's cloud native, truly cloud native, and it runs off SAP BTP. That's a technical word that's there, but that's just call it as a cloud native, and it integrates S/4HANA clouds and other ERPs. So it can integrate S/4HANA cloud-based implementations. It can integrate with S/4HANA on-premise. It can connect with ECCs. It can connect with your Microsoft Dynamics, your Oracles. It can connect with Infor, whatever. It can connect with all of them because it's a cloud first. It runs on a BTP. So it offers you the function, the flexibility to be able to connect with other ERPs, as we talked before. Scope-wise, closing tasks within one S/4HANA system, limited cross-system support via external schedulers. So it was a limited cross-system connectivity, adaptability. Now we have cross-system and multi-entity close orchestration group level reporting. So I was use the word group level reporting earlier also. So you can have different systems, different brands, right? And a cross-entity which could be spread across different ERPs and different geographies. And then you can also perform group level closing. So you know that some of the processes are group level, right? So you can also perform group level reporting for your group reporting also. I'm also getting into group reporting. You can also manage your group reporting via this one. But group level reporting means you have set of company codes here and you want to perform across different ERPs. You can perform that via AFC as a control system. Task list defined per client, copy paste and manual adjustment common. That's task list defined per client, copy paste and manual adjustments common. So here, standard templates, best practices, reusable closing templates with automated task list generated and relative date logic. So essentially what you have is you can have an automatic task list generated. So it gives you recommendation based on the available content or based upon what you have implemented. So there's a step ahead where you can go and see what all modules you have implemented, and SAP can give you a recommendation as to this is the automated task list. So that's kind of, I would say, in that area where I would not, most of the time I've taken the task lists that are available to me and I've updated it manually, but SAP can generate a closing template based upon the modules, sub-modules you have implemented. Little bit of automation there. Automation, manual scheduling of many tasks, some simple automation via external scheduling. So simple automation via external scheduler. So again, you can limit its automation. Here is high degree automation, auto triggering tasks, system jobs, workflows across platforms. So this is basically, I say, it's a control system sitting right in the middle, and it's giving commands to your black line to go and perform certain tasks in SAP. If your black line is already connected, or it can directly ask and it can directly go and trigger a task in an S4 system where the black line was never in the trajectory. So it can just it's like it's a more of flexible automation that you have available at your hands. And even if the black line is executing the task in there, it can still via the collaboration, we can still get the statuses of those tasks as black line is executing those, and the stats could still be registered within AFC that the task was completed by black line in an SAP or a non-SAP system. So you can have black line in your trajectory or not, doesn't matter. The command could be from black line, but the status still could be registered in the task list that are within AFC. Timeline on dependencies, linear task list, basic sequences, limited dependencies. Full dependency graph tasks can be sequenced, parallelized, conditionally skipped. So that is easier flow of the task, easier control of the task, easier sequencing, parallelization of the task. All that is there. Again, sometimes we are managing 3 different systems via AFC. So we can carry it out parallelly because the resources are available. And sometimes it's, even if technically it's possible to carry out the task, but you cannot do it because it's being run on the same system. So just giving you an idea of flavors that using AFC, we can manage how the tasks are sequenced, whether they have to be run parallel on the same system or not, or we can run them parallel or not. So, or we can conditionally skip them. So all various permutation combinations are available in terms of timelines and dependencies. Monitoring and visibility. Status tracking inside one system, limited big picture. Again, it's limited to one system, right? Here, because it's across different systems, it offers a dashboard and it shows what's the progress on all of them. It's kind of a higher level view across different ERPs, non-ERPs, non-SAP systems. So you can get a single view, single version of truth in one dashboard to get the big picture here using AFC. Task assignment inside S4, limited built-in collaboration, Again, this is going to the same thing that you can have these tasks carried out across systems. There's a built-in workflow, notifications, role-based collaboration across different system entities and systems. Because all this control is sitting in AFC, even these notifications, if they need to be sent out via emails, and then that could be carried out across different entities and systems, because the control is just within AFC sitting in the middle, right? Audit trails tied to SAP manual documentation often still needed. So again, it's just one system view. But here's embedded governance, audit trails, version templates, and compliance dashboards. You're going across systems, right? So, and I said the templates, they're versioned, means that every time you update a template, whether from one period to another period, they get versions, periodic versioning, or you can have the same template that you need to update just in the same run because you have added new tabs. So all the versioning is there. Like you can see, you can do a comparative analysis how your templates look like from one period to another period. Similarly, audit logs, again, quite a strong audit logging there in terms of who carried out, how long did it take, whether it was success or a failure. All the thing gets there. And again, you can open up newer control fields so that you can even store even more audit data, particularly for the manual tasks if needed be. Strategic positioning, considered legacy, obsolete, new S4 system. So SAP, again, that all the new development will happen in the on the AFC side of the thing. So that's why SAP would say that all the newer implementations or upgrades will be more towards AFC. And the previous one will probably be deprecated, if not now, then in a few years down the line. And again, all the AI enhanced. So all the AI upgrades that are going to happen, they're going to be on the AFC side. So that's the strategic positioning. A big one. So questions here.
Yes. So just clarification on it. So you're saying that AFC does use AI agents to do some of this, because a lot of what you're talking about is very smart. They're things that you would think people need to kind of have more involvement in. So I just wanted to clarify on that one.
Correct. So the newer development and AI agents embedding is all on the AFC side. I think it's work in progress at this time. And the hope is that in going forward, as much automation as possible could be managed via that, particularly those situations where we have warnings or blockers. So, as much as we could be done, and even helping on the early closing side, the easy soft closing side, I think the agents will be really helpful going forward.
No, that's great to hear. Thank you. And once again, if anyone has any questions, please be sure to put them in Q&A. I know this was a larger slide, so too, if you want a copy of it, just stick it in Q&A and we'll make sure that we send out a copy of this particular slide to you.
Yeah. Asset accounting, common automated closing tasks. So depreciation posting runs automated execution. We know that asset accounting is carried out. Depreciation postings that can all be automated here, right? GL closing, foreign currency valuation runs, period open end closings, execution of reports like aging data, balance due. Then we have management closing, which is your settlements generally, right? Assessment cycles, distribution cycles, and period end open and close. Wherever there is a repetition without much need for human intervention, that's where all the automation could be carried out. If you see in these activities, there's practically no need for human intervention. But there could be activities there may be a need for that. And that's where we're going to use our smart templating. Like as we are designing our task templates, we have to be smart, that we put the tasks in order so that they run in that order, right? We don't want to put the cart before the horse, right? That is common sense. We have to design our templates accordingly. That's the responsibility on us. But once that is done, rest of the tasks which can be automated should be automated. And if there are any errors, let the errors pop out and let the correct intimation should go to the right person and let them take action. But as much as possible, and ratio could be 80-20 or 70-30, we want to run it as an automated closing task. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Keep human in the loop, right? That's kind of the concept behind it.
Again, this could be a repetition, but improved accuracy through automation, more automation, better, enhanced compliance and control as the documentation perspective. we can just deploy. And I think with AI coming forward, we can just make it even better so that we have better documentation. Compliance is one thing, but producing documentation that we were compliant and did perform the things the right way, right? So that's where compliance comes into picture. Better resource utilization. So the same accountant could be used for someone else instead of just bogged down by closing activities for a whole 50 days when we are doing is just settling these WBS element costs onto assets or something. Scalable across global entities since you're using templates, right? You just have to see that how uh, like a lot of organizations, let's say they acquire other company codes, etc. So they can easily use the same templates across other entities that they're acquiring, particularly growth phase companies. They can just use it, and this is also an opportunity to see if some other entity is using a different set of processes, how they can be, harmonized within the standard templates that you already have. So you can just scale it and just shorten your time and smoothen your closing process.
Just out of curiosity, I know we've listed a lot of benefits for AFC. What's the biggest one that you personally feel that your clients have seen after they've implemented it?
It is the harmonization, because earlier you would have different tools. You will go to one system versus another and third system to be able to perform these closings. And sometimes you need to have a specific skill sets because every closing system has a personality. While in this case, if you can just harmonize it, and you can even question and challenge if we are having different set of processes in different entities, why would that be the case, right? Even if the ERP could be different, the underlying process should be same. Some ERPs have certain specific processes, so how you can paper over and get to the bigger picture than getting too deep, right? So one example I would give you is a practical example, and without naming the client, they had a process where one job will run, produce data, and that will be, or you call it a list. And then that list will be fed into another program to be able to perform the actual closing task that was needed. So when we went in this direction and we realized that they were using some of the custom processes which were not even needed. So when we started looking into why they have these two custom programs, which is essentially they could have done via a newer program which was offered by SAP in S4 itself, there was no need to have the same process run twice and quite custom. So there were some benefits there. And we started kind of analyzing, and we realized that the older company codes were using the older processes, but the newer company codes were fine and they were using the latest processes. So as I said, like when you start getting into this thing beyond the actual closing and scheduling and higher level view, it also gives you an opportunity to look at your closing processes and see that there could be opportunities to just harmonize and standardize them.
That makes a lot of sense. No, and it's great to hear a client example. I appreciate that.
Integration with SAP S/4HANA Cloud, seamless integration with Central Finance. Again, this is where Central Finance, as you guys are aware of, where we are trying to bring the financial activities into from accounting perspective into one particular S4 box, while you have other systems. So Central Finance versus a disparate system, how do you do it? I mean, this is a common question that since Central Finance has been launched by SAP as one accounting system on S4 core, while the actual operations can run wherever they need to run on the non-ERP. It could be non-ERP system. It could be Excel systems, Excel-based inputs. So S/4HANA, since the closing actually is carried out in Central Finance, so AFC could be used to actually perform the activities in the Central Finance. So folks who are aware of it, Central Finance has a different set of tables, which are a little different from the actual company code tables. They're standard tables, but they also are separate tables. So so AFC is also able to integrate with Central Finance to perform the closing activities in Central Finance, right? That's the seamless integration they're talking about. Working with predictive accounting, soft accounting, predictive accounting. This all works in the same way. Again, cloud-based AFC solution is able to manage that. Connects to multiple ERP system, as I said, SAP, non-SAP, all of that. Real-time data access across dimensions. So as I said, like you can have the real-time data available to you as the closings are happening, right? So we start the soft closing so that all data is made available to you in your AFC dashboards, if you will.
So we did have a quick question come in. Once again, Braden asking great questions. I appreciate this. So since AFC is cloud-based, to better integrate across all ERP systems, do you have to
Yes.
have S/4HANA Cloud version to get this better integrated, especially for the automated updates, or can on-prem users also get benefits from AFC?
Yeah, the on-prem too, because it is to cloud. The S/4HANA system is cloud-based, but it can connect to any other system, and there are adapters available. So it doesn't need that the underlying ERP system has to be cloud-based. It could be on-prem, it could be Oracle, it could be Microsoft. But the adapters are available that lets you bring in those the tables exposed to S/4HANA Cloud. Yeah.
Okay,
So it
that
doesn't
makes
have
a
to
lot
be
of sense.
cloud-based.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's really going to help just about anyone.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So we can see that here we have managed dashboard reporting, we have organizational unit, and we have task view. You have different two views, right? And we have managed dashboard reporting is on the top, and you can say financial closing view, organizational level, and then closing task completion organization. So you can see that at entity level, at task level, at company code level, at group of company code level, at group reporting level, what's the progress on that? And task view is at the lower level, which is how the tasks are getting completed. Are they in error? So think like one is more like kind of organizational view of the closing. The second one is a little deeper down technical view of something. This is just two sides of it. And what it represents are different Fury apps. So you can think of the 4 Fury apps here that give you different view of the closings, right? One from organizational perspective, line of business perspective, etc. is on the left-hand side, and right side is the technical side of the things, task basis, and all that. So 2 views and 4 or 5 more Fury apps that are made available to you for your convenience. And again, all are drilled down, which means you can start from management dash reporting on the top, the dashboard on the top, and you can drill down to see flexibly and I would say cross different Furies. Because if you were looking for detail, you can start from the organization side and you can see, okay, what are all the tasks that are there for that organization unit, which all the same organization unit could be participating in certain task list, and then how the task list. So you can easily freely navigate from one side to another, but start from the same dashboard on the top.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
And this is some of the tiles that you can see that those 4s we talked about here on the screen, they're here just to advise you that we have more, but the primary ones are these Fury apps. As you know, SAP has designed these apps to give you different view of the data, but these 4 ones are critical because they will give you, I think, 90% of what you're looking for in terms of your AFC. And you can start from one, as you can start from overview and can drill down into the closing in the individual task side. And everything is Fury based, everything is browser based. So this is one of the examples. You can see that is overview. This is what I was telling, that different subtiles are available, where on the top you can run it by company code, by fiscal year, by certain. See, there's another thing that I want to bring your attention to. Custom field 1. You see that custom field 1. So some of the organizations, they are, even though they are company code, legal entity wise, but they also have something called line of business. So they want to see the view from the line of business perspective. So SAP offers I think half a dozen of custom fields that you want to see or be able to see how those lines of business closing is looking like. So it's like you have some configuration customization available while staying standard as much as possible. So you see, the beauty of it is that you don't have to really do a lot of configuration. You don't have to customize it. It's a very, very thin configuration that you have to do to say that I want to have the same closing happen for a group of company codes or some other dimension but I want to see this line of business. Line of business keeps saying it's a very common thing that companies ask for. How my closing on the line of business looks like, right? I have 10 company codes, and those 10 company codes belong to, let's say, poultry unit, like talking my agro example. So how does that look like? And I want to have a view from that perspective versus my fertilizer business versus tools business. So you can also have custom fields that you can configure to see the closing not only by company code, but at levels above or below the company codes. And that's how you can see different tools are there. There's a pie chart, and then you can see by custom field, which could be your lines of business, how many tasks are overdue, how many they are overdue by how many days. I mean, that's and numbers, and you can scroll down. You can see, and this is the other view, which is you can see the other view where we are saying task IDs on the left side, and you have different tasks. So this was telling that here is the overview, and then this screen is kind of a lower level while the filters still run on top. So you can click here and come here, or you can have run them separately, same results. Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like navigation is pretty easy with it all. I mean, I know that's one of the benefits of Fiori, but even for Fiori, this seems pretty intuitive.
Yes. Challenges the AFC processes, mix of S4 Fiori as well as ECCT codes program used in the closing tasks. You know that the existing ones, the newer Fiori apps, catalog IDs are easily available. But when it comes to ECCT codes, it's harder because just by the nature of them, they are harder to be pulled into because some of the T codes are deprecated, right? So we have to find alternatives, and alternatives are available, but that's something we need to recognize that if you are an S4, because some of the clients, they upgrade to S4, but essentially they just upgrade the code process.